So Diane, you're standing in your new kitchen, which I know you're rightly very pleased and proud of. Can you talk me through anything that is specifically good that you're glad you chose? I know there's lots of decisions to be made.
2 dishwashers. Might sound a bit extravagant, but I didn't want ever to have messy dishes piled up, and you can guarantee when you have people around, your dishwasher's full or it needs emptying or whatever. So I've got a dishwasher either end of my island, so we're not in each other's way when one's emptying or one's loading. That I am so glad we made that decision. Just thinking about the cupboards and having everything, the fridge and the freezer hidden, and I think, you know, as much as you want your kitchen, I love the fact that kitchen is in where everyone is, but you don't want, you know, to look too, all your appliances on show or whatever. So yeah, it all works.
Steve, can you talk to me about the light in this space? So we've created one big extension, and we made the decision to have obviously bifold doors at the end, and we also put Velexes in. So, and then you've done quite a lot of thought with the electric lighting as well. So how is the light working out? What decisions were good and bad?
I don't think there's any bad decisions. I think it's all good. But again, it's about thinking it through and thinking about how you're going to use the room. We've got a very large room here. We've got a kitchen, so you're going to need quite a lot of light when you're preparing stuff at night time. But we've also got a sort of a lounge area and a dining area, and sometimes you want a bit of mood lighting. And as a result of that, we have a range of spotlights, but they're all individually, they're not individually controlled, but the lines of the spotlights are individually controlled, so we can have zones of light. We've got lights, pendant lights here, which are beautiful for setting out the island. We've got under cupboard lights and under floor lights, but we've also got some mood lighting in the top corners there with coloured LED for those occasions when we just want to have a little bit of a party atmosphere, where we want a bit of music going on in the evening, and make it feel a little bit more like an exclusive club, if you like. It doesn't have to just be a kitchen, it's a living space.
So Steve, what were you most concerned about with regards to doing this extension, and how did you go about sorting it out?
I think the biggest concern for me, and probably applies to most people when they embark on a project like this, is around money. Because at the end of the day, we've all got a finite amount of money that we want to spend, and we want to get value for money out of that. So, you know, with us, we had a budget, and we also recognise that there's risks associated with a project like this. There's always risks of problems, especially when you're coming out of the ground. So we had to put aside a contingency, but don't really want to spend that contingency. That's your savings pot. So that's the biggest problem. How do we get around that? Well, I put that down to planning, and it's getting a clear understanding of what it is that you want to get out of this build. How do you want it to look like? What are the finishes? And it's not just about the paint colours, it's about everything. It's things that you can't see. It's all like the electrics, the plumbing, the switches. Where do you want them? How many do you want? If you get all of those things into your build from the outset, then the builder knows what to expect. He can price accordingly, and then you, as a client, know what's included or not. So at the end of the day, you keep a good working relationship with the builder, and at the end of the day, you both come away from it with the builder with, you know, making money out of it, because that's what he's got to do, and you coming away thinking you've got value for money. If you don't plan it, then things will go wrong. There will be lots of changes, and that will cost you money, inevitably. So I think for us, that planning was vital.
So can you remember how the house was before and what the issues were with it?
Yeah, it really wasn't working. Lots of separate rooms, a small square kitchen, a utility room, a back room, and then a conservatory on the side that was just losing all the heat from the house downstairs. But that was the only glimpse of the garden if you went into the conservatory, which you couldn't use for most of the winter. And so yeah, it was just a labyrinth of rooms, and it just wasn't working. We couldn't have all the family in any one room.
So can you explain how we started the process? I think you were thinking of moving, but then we had a meeting here at your house, and what happened?
Yes, we looked at a few properties and couldn't find anything that we liked, and we love where we live, and the house, you know, has got a lot going for it, but you came round and just showed what could be done quite simply, you know, with what we already had. We'd explored knocking the dining room and the kitchen into one, and that was going to be really expensive, and really we weren't going to gain a lot. We're still going to be at the front of the house, not looking onto the garden. And, you know, when you came round and said you need to open it all up, it just seemed so obvious, but we hadn't even thought of it.
So we did a workshop sitting in your old conservatory. Yes. Can you remember that?
Yes.
Before the pandemic even happened.
Oh gosh.
And we drew out some options.
Yeah.
What can you remember about that process?
Yeah, I think you did 4 options because we already had this existing wall, so it seemed silly to knock that down, but that sort of dictated the main shape, you know, the how far we went out. But I remember when we drew it, we all went, oh, that looks a bit big, you know. Is that going to work? Is that going to be too big? But we wanted the separate zones. We wanted a sit down lounge area, wanted a table and a big kitchen and an island. Every woman dreams of an island. So yeah, I'm so glad that we went for the 4th option, the full the full length.
So here we are 2 years on, and your lovely project is well and truly finished, and you've been in for quite a while.
Yep.
Tell me what you love about it and how's it changed the way the family works.
Oh, it's just wonderful to feel like I'm outside even when I'm inside. When I'm cooking, I'm still able to be in my garden. When the family come, I'm not separate from them. They can lounge on a sofa or they can sit on their laptops at the table. It just works. It's just fantastic to eat, to relax, to listen to music. It just works, yeah.
Steve, can you remember what happened after that? I think I left you with some homework.
Yes, you did, and that homework was about understanding how the various different options might affect our budget and how much of that we wanted to spend. Because the options that we explored integrated the part of the existing extension, which was quite long and thin. And to my mind, it didn't seem logical to demolish part of that because there's a lot of concrete works that would need to be disposed of. I was thinking that really we should integrate it all into the larger extension, but there were different options for scaling it back depending on our budget. So after that first meeting, I engaged with a couple of builders just to get some high-level ideas on the budget and how much the construction works would feed into that. But at the same time, we were also exploring things like fitting out the kitchen. It's not just about the build; it's about the finishes as well. And the kitchen is a very expensive part of it, and that all feeds into the budget. So that was the first phase, and that gave us good confidence in moving into the next phase and developing the option that we chose.